From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
You need a family, you need love, you need safe shelter.
Giving children a home, even temporarily. After countless stories of children separated from their parents at the border, a Flagstaff couple opens their doors.
The future of education. We take a look at the growing number of Arizona parents now considering homeschooling.
And Mother Nature proving her power is stronger than man's. We've seen major storm damage, but what about mangled metal?
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Cariño Haro.
And I'm Sam Hoyle. Thank you so much for joining us. For 2 months, we've seen images and heard stories about unaccompanied kids at the border. Border security and immigration policies have turned into a blame game from both sides of the aisle.
While we may have different beliefs, we all want these children to be taken care of. Reporter Emily Richardson spoke with a family about why they've opened their doors to migrant children.
I'm not going to say it's the easiest thing on the face of the planet and the emotional toll comes with it, but it is worth it, and it is incredibly important. If you have a bed in your house, do it.
Kelly and Matt Eckhoff were involved with the original Refugio program created by Neighborhood Ministries and Urban Strategies in response to the 2014 border crisis. They gave unaccompanied minors homes to live in while waiting to be reunited with their families. After a year, the grant ran out and stopped the program, but is being revamped this year. The Eckhoffs are unable to participate, but encourage anyone who can to do it.
We have no regrets, not one. So I would absolutely encourage people to do it.
The couple has seen the emotional toll on children who are taken from their parents and are saddened by the separation of families at the border.
The trauma that is being pressed upon these children and families is incredibly profound and has effects beyond behavioral.
In May, the American Academy of Pediatrics
From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
You need a family, you need love, you need safe shelter.
Giving children a home, even temporarily. After countless stories of children separated from their parents at the border, a Flagstaff couple opens their doors.
The future of education. We take a look at the growing number of Arizona parents now considering homeschooling.
And Mother Nature proving her power is stronger than man's. We've seen major storm damage, but what about mangled metal?
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Cariño Haro.
And I'm Sam Hoyle. Thank you for joining us. For 2 months, we've seen images and heard stories about unaccompanied kids at the border. Border security and immigration policies have turned into a blame game from both sides of the aisle.
While we may have different beliefs, we all want these children to be taken care of. Reporter Emily Richardson spoke with a family about why they've opened their doors to migrant children.
Kelly and Matt Eckhoff have always wanted to be foster parents, but the opportunity to take in unaccompanied minors who were waiting to be reunited with their family inspired them to complete the licensing process.
I'm not going to say it's the easiest thing on the face of the planet, and the emotional toll comes with it, but it is worth it, and it is incredibly important. If you have a bed in your house, do it.
Kelly and Matt Eckhoff were involved with the original Refugio program created by Neighborhood Ministries and Urban Strategies in response to the 2014 border crisis. They gave unaccompanied minors homes to live in while waiting to be reunited with their families. After a year, the grant ran out and stopped the program, but is being revamped this year. The Eckhoffs are unable to participate, but encourage anyone who can to do it.
We have no regrets, not one. So I would absolutely encourage people to do it.
The couple has seen the emotional toll on children who are taken from their parents and are saddened by the separation of families at the border.
The trauma that is being pressed upon these children and families is incredibly profound and has effects beyond behavioral.
In May, the American Academy of Pediatrics released a report saying the separation of children from their parents creates toxic stress that can carry lifelong consequences. The Eckhoffs believe putting these children in foster homes could help alleviate some stress.
Nothing will erase that, but I think coming and knowing that you have a family that loves you, that will sit and rub your back at night if you're crying for mom, that makes a huge difference.
Refugio is scheduled to begin in the fall of 2018, and anyone who is interested can apply on the Neighborhood Ministries website. Emily Richardson, Cronkite News.
An unlicensed facility in Phoenix will no longer house migrant children.
The contractor has ended a lease on a building where kids were being held while waiting to be reunited with family members. The children were housed for a brief time at the vacant office building near 20th Street and Osborne after being separated from their parents at the border. Phoenix mayoral candidate Kate Gallego held a news conference saying the lease has been terminated and no children will be kept there anymore. A mother and her 6-year-old daughter back together tonight after they were separated at the U.S.-Mexico border. Cindy Madrid was released from a detention center in Texas last week, but was only reunited with her daughter Allison today. Allison had been held in a facility here in Arizona, Madrid says. She traveled from El Salvador because she wanted more than poverty and violence for her daughter. Today, special counsel Robert Mueller indicted 12 Russians for hacking the Democratic Party during the 2016 election.
This comes just days before President Trump is set to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
The indictment charges 12 Russian military officers by name for conspiring to interfere with the 2016 presidential election. There's no allegation in this indictment that any American citizen committed a crime. There's no allegation that the conspiracy changed the vote count or affected any election result.
Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein went on to announce that the U.S. has charged the 12 Russians with conspiracy. Investigators say the Russians hacked into computer networks where they installed malware, allowing them to spy on Americans and remove data from computers. President Trump has been debriefed on the indictment. Earlier today, the president had a meeting with UK Prime Minister Theresa May. The two were wrapping up NATO discussions.
The meeting came after President Trump was accused of criticizing May about her notion to remove Britain from the European Union. During the press conference, May explained Britain's importance as part of NATO.
Whether it is our pilots deterring the use of chemical weapons in Syria or defeating Daesh, our soldiers at the forefront of NATO's presence in Eastern Europe, our navies in the Pacific enforcing sanctions on North Korea, or our unparalleled intelligence sharing partnership thwarting attacks. Our security cooperation is saving lives here in Britain, in America, and right across the world.
After Trump's meeting with Prime Minister May, the President and First Lady had tea with Queen Elizabeth II at Windsor Castle. Tonight, President Trump is in Scotland. Monday is the summit with Putin, a meeting that some politicians think should be scrapped. Senator John McCain released a statement today about next Monday's meeting, writing in part, President Trump must be willing to confront Putin from a position of strength and demonstrate that there will be a serious price to pay for his ongoing aggression towards the United States. If President Trump is not prepared to hold Putin accountable, the summit in Helsinki should not move forward. Saturday marks the one-year anniversary of Senator John McCain's cancer diagnosis.
The six-term senator and Vietnam War hero has not been seen in months. He's been staying at a family home near Sedona as he battles glioblastoma. It's an aggressive form of brain cancer, often immune to more conventional treatments. Doctors found a tumor last year while removing a blood clot above the senator's eye. McCain's diagnosis sent shockwaves around the country, prompting an emotional reaction from his colleagues.
Senator McCain, as we all know, has never shied away from a fight. And I assure you, he isn't going to back down now. I know the senator from Arizona will confront this challenge with the same extraordinary courage that has characterized his entire life.
He's one of my dear friends. He's a dear friend to many in this body. And from the bottom of my heart, I wish him and his family well.
Today, his wife, Cindy, released a statement thanking friends, family, and Arizonans for their support and crediting medical professionals and her husband's fighting spirit for getting them this far. She says, in part, that he is still with us one eventful year later, still working at getting stronger, still engaged in the life of his family and our country, is as much a testament to their dedication, skill, and compassion as it is to his fighting spirit. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Homeschooling is on the rise in the state of Arizona. The community has seen a 3% increase in home education over the last few years here in the state, according to A to Z Homeschooling.
Reporter Amanda Mason attended an annual homeschooling convention and spoke with former public and private school teachers who now homeschool their own children.
I'm at the Phoenix Convention Center where families from all over Arizona have just wrapped up their first day of the Arizona Families for Home Education Convention.
When you think of homeschool, you may not think about crowds like these, but these families are coming together to talk about ways to stay connected to others while educating their children at home. Allison Gentala, a former 5th grade teacher, homeschools her 8 children.
You know, in the classroom, I had to be much more structured, and everyone had to kind of stay on the same level. So we might have to pause and wait and let the kids who were struggling catch up. So then our kids who were advanced were, you know, they were getting bored, and I had to have things to keep them engaged and challenged. And in the home, when they are excelling in a certain area, they just keep going.
Another mother and a 3rd-generation teacher has been homeschooling her 4 children for 22 years.
I get to see their eyes light up when they read for the first time. I get to, you know, just as a child when you see them walk for the first time, I get to see them read. I get to see them memorize all their math facts. I get to see the first composition that they put together, and I get to see that letter get into college knowing that we've done this.
Sherry McCowan also helps other families find outside activities, from sports to STEM clubs. A popular program at the convention is for young entrepreneurs, where kids can learn how to develop a business and sell their work. Homeschool parents are able to learn new curriculum ideas and get help with lesson plans.
The convention continues tomorrow, and if you're still interested, there's registration at the door. At the Phoenix Convention Center, Amanda Mason, Cronkite News.
Depression and anxiety are issues that take the spotlight when celebrity suicides occur.
But what about those who deal with these issues every day? Coming up on Cronkite News, for teens in Arizona, suicide is the 2nd leading cause of death. But this teen therapy group is hoping to make a change.
Plus, the power of the monsoon. Winds as strong as a Category 2 hurricane toppled transmission towers in Arizona.
I'm Judy Woodruff, anchor and managing editor of the PBS NewsHour. The journalists of tomorrow face a fast-changing media landscape, but quality news remains vitally important to our communities, our country, and our world. At ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, students learn solid, reliable reporting, holding the powerful accountable, and rebuilding the public's trust. The Cronkite School and Arizona PBS, preparing the next generation for a stronger future of journalism.
As journalists at Cronkite News, we report on stories that matter to you by focusing on the local impact. We dig deeper and work tirelessly to keep you informed.
Live in Wickerburg.
Live in Los Angeles.
In Cleveland. In Washington. In Louisville.
From Jerusalem.
Live in Philadelphia.
From around the world to right here in Phoenix.
At Cronkite News, we report the facts and stick to the truth.
I'm Ted Simons, host and managing editor of Arizona Horizon. The 2018 election season has arrived. Join us for primary and general election debates. Right here, meet the candidates and hear their positions. Arizona Horizon, your source for what matters most this election season. Only on Arizona PBS.
Millions of people die every year from drinking dirty water. I would never have felt I had the ability to do something without ASU pushing me. We built filtration systems out of local materials with the people. To see those kids drink clean water for the first time, it's the most rewarding feeling that you can ever have. I went to ASU because I wanted to change the world. The thing I never would have expected is how the world would have changed me.
Mental health is a tough topic to talk about for many people.
Reporter Jordan Daphnis met with a group of local teens to discuss these issues and find out what's it like to walk in their shoes.
The 3 girls I met with opened up about a variety of topics regarding mental health and anxiety. Here they are, in their own words.
It's something that you can't escape from. It's in your head. And if you don't take care of it, when it starts out as something and you notice it, it's gonna grow. My heart starts beating really, really fast. Like I can hear it, and then I can just feel like I'm gonna start crying. And something really weird is this area right here gets very tingly on my hand.
My heart doesn't start getting faster, it gets slower. And the whole world just kind of starts to slow down, and I freeze, and it's like I'm moving too fast.
I hyperventilate a lot, and I feel it in my fingertips and my toes. I start to lose feelings in them. They go numb. Because a mental illness, it sounds very scary, and they are, but I feel like if we had a different name for it, more people wouldn't be afraid to step forward and say, I'm struggling, I have depression, I have anxiety, we need to get something fixed. But I think because of the title, more people are scared. It's not the outside life that you need to change. It's not the things around you, it's in here. So get help, because it's worth it. It's not something you can do by yourself. It's not a secret you can hold. No. You need support.
The simplest call of a friend and just talking to somebody, and it's going to be so hard for you to do, but once you get that one call over with, you feel so much better.
The thing to remember is you're not alone. We're not alone. We now have each other, and you're stronger. You're so much stronger than you think you are.
The kids now should know it's okay. It's okay to talk to your parents and try to get them to get you to go to therapy, to get you to talk to somebody. It's okay to be able to breathe and just take that next step.
If you or someone you know is interested in learning more about the therapy group these girls attend, you can find more information by visiting awakenandenhance.com. In the broadcast center, Jordan Daphnis, Cronkite News.
We are currently finishing up the first big week of storms for monsoon 2018.
The rain, wind, and dust have temporarily ceased, but the cleanup is still going. Coming up next, a mangled mess of metal, how a massive storm bent these towers in half.
A chance of rain for the high country this weekend? I'll have all the details coming up in a full 7-day forecast.
Cronkite News, weeknights at 5 on Arizona PBS.
I'm Matt Berry, ESPN Sports Center anchor and graduate of ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication. With its bachelor's and master's degrees in sports journalism, the Cronkite School is preparing the next generation of sports journalists to tell stories that matter, stories that excite, inspire, and inform. Cronkite immerses students in covering sports at all levels in one of the country's top sports markets. It's this hands-on experience under the guidance of award-winning sports media veterans that shape the top journalists of tomorrow.
By the year 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. Before Professor Halden, I had an insane amount of passion, but I almost felt helpless because I didn't know how to use it. Professor Halden gave me a chance to make a difference. Being at a place like ASU allows you to take these big leaps. Ultimately, the biggest problems in the world cannot be solved alone.
If you're looking for one show that tells you what happened that day in the world of business, it's NPR.
We saw a classic shipwreck.
Nordstrom's opening stores.
Triple-digit gains.
Crude climbs.
We're there to help our audience find new investment ideas.
The market still has room to go up.
Nightly Business Report is the longest-running business television program in history.
Weeknights at 10:30 on Arizona PBS.
The monsoon storms we've seen in the last few days have significantly lowered fire risk across the state. This morning, officials lifted Stage 2 restrictions at Grand Canyon National Park. These heightened restrictions have been in place since June 11th. The park is usually under Stage 1 restrictions throughout the year. This means you have to keep campfires within a designated fire ring. Charcoal grills are also okay.
The sheer power of Mother Nature can be astonishing, especially during the monsoon. High winds don't just knock down power lines and tree limbs, they can pummel entire towers. That's what happened to lines near the Palo Verde nuclear power plant. Reporter Gabriela Becerra has more on what SRP is doing to get these towers up and running again.
According to SRP, towers have never gone down like this before. These 100 to 150-foot towers are built to withstand extreme weather conditions and winds ranging between 90 and 100 miles per hour. These towers were damaged by what SRP is calling a unique meteorological condition during the storm.
We do know that they've withstood many microbursts before. So this was not just a basic microburst event that took these towers down.
Director of Transmission Line Design, Construction, and Maintenance at SRP, Robert Konzioka, says they don't know exactly how the towers were damaged, although they have suspicion about the type of winds that may have brought them down.
There's a good chance that there were some swirling winds, or may have been some type of tornadic action. There may have been some uplift type winds that caused things to move around and then hit the tower in a way in which it hits a point which caused maybe an initial collapse, and then we had a little bit of cascade.
Konzioka says these towers are designed to code with additional measures to withstand conditions unique to Arizona's environment. SRP has never lost any 500 kilovolt towers from weather conditions prior to this.
We have extremely reliable towers. We have our system using those type of towers for 40 years. We've never had any type of failures on them before.
These towers are a part of the transmission system that moves power from Palo Verde to other areas in Arizona and neighboring states. However, the loss of these lines didn't affect the electrical grid. Repairs are being made by installing emergency restoration structures.
Getting that line back in service is a priority. I mean, it's July, although it's not as bad today. The loads are going to go up rather quickly, and we need that line back in service so that in case something else happens.
They expect to have the line back in service by Monday, and when the weather cools down in the winter, they will rebuild the structures to their original conditions. According to SRP, it's important to stay about 100 feet away from fallen or damaged towers. They've seen the public coming out to take photos and videos of the site, and they want to remind people that although a tower may look damaged, it could still have energy running through it. In downtown Phoenix, Gabriela Becerra, Cronkite News.
Today we're seeing the lowest storm chances we've seen all week.
But the slight possibility of a monsoon storm remains in place all weekend long. Roger Ratley is here with our forecast.
Currently in Phoenix, it's 102 degrees with partly cloudy skies. The winds are out of the west at 6 miles per hour. The humidity is at 25% and the dew point is at 60. Around the valley, everyone is in triple digits. Glendale is at 100, Goodyear 102, Chandler is also at 102. For us here in the valley, we expect to hit a high of 103 today, which is below our average of 107 for this time of year. Now, looking at the forecast models, here in the valley, there's not much chance of rain for us, maybe 10%. But up in the high country, there is a 60% chance of rain from Saturday heading into Sunday morning. Now, as we look at the forecast, You'll see that Saturday it's at 104. Temperatures start to drop on Sunday to 100, Monday 99, and then things stay below normal for the rest of the week. In the Weather Center, I'm Roger Ratley.
It can be frustrating to get to the airport and then have your flight delayed.
But Sky Harbor's offering something to break up the monotony. Coming up on Cronkite News, the next time you get delayed, why you might want to take a boarding pass to the Airport Art Museum.
I like working for Cronkite News because it gives us the opportunity to find a different angle on the same stories that every other news outlet is covering across Arizona. As students, we have the opportunity to cover issues in all across the state of Arizona.
It gives me a good chance to sharpen my skills, improve my skills, learn the techniques in a newsroom and in the programs and teamwork and technology, getting me prepared for the real world. And at the same time, I think we do a great job, make some great stories, do great journalism for the city of Phoenix and the state of Arizona.
I'm Ted Simons, host and managing editor of Arizona Horizon. Join us each weekday at 5:30 and 10 as we bring you the top newsmakers who impact the state. We cover the stories in depth that shape and affect our local communities, and we take the time to ensure that all voices are equally heard. For more than 30 years, Arizona Horizon has been your voice and your source for what matters most, right here on Arizona PBS.
Hello from the children of planet Earth.
Exploring, it's the lifeblood of the mission.
Human beings are a curious bunch.
What are we going to see when we get really close?
Wow.
Just because an idea is crazy, it's not necessarily wrong.
We were on our way.
You don't get anywhere until you've tested the limits.
That carries an intensity you can't imagine.
You could hear people just, whoa.
Oh my God, absolutely spectacular.
It's a rush. We ask a lot of our heroes.
We are at a remarkable moment.
We're going farther than any exploration ever has.
Passengers who are out of patience, delayed flights, and long security lines. But if you need a moment of zen, the next time you're at Sky Harbor, seek out some painting and photography. Allison Snell reports how the Airport Museum has arrived at a milestone.
When we think of Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport, we mostly think of travel. But for the last 30 years, Phoenix Sky Harbor has grown an art collection from less than 20 to more than 900 works of art. I got a close look today at some of the pieces and the stories behind them.
Inspiring. It gives you ideas.
Jody Rosen is from St. Martin in the Caribbean and is heading to California. She's one of over 40 million people a year who go through Sky Harbor Airport, giving the exhibit lots of exposure to travelers.
Oh, I think it's fabulous. I'm an artist, so I love art.
Rosen related most to the survivalist Home Sweet Home piece after 30 years of living in an area that faces destructive hurricanes.
We look at survival and we pack up things.
This is the 30th anniversary of the Phoenix Airport Museum, and Gary Martelli has been a part of it for the past 20.
Our mission is to promote Arizona's unique artistic and cultural heritage.
They feature Arizona icons like the Grand Canyon and the saguaro cactus.
It gives them a window into what Arizona is like. And we have this huge 26-foot Dan Naminga painting that has been in storage, and we were able to bring it out and put it on the back wall, and I know it's drawing people in.
I love the idea of art in unexpected places.
They have a variety of art, from paintings to sculptures to pieces done entirely in colored pencil.
It's approachable, artists for everyone.
For some, the art exhibit in the airport inspires them for their own art. After collecting jewels from yearly carnivals in the Caribbean, Rosen made what she calls Carnival Girl. After seeing the pieces in the collection, she plans on taking that inspiration home with her.
Because that's what I'll do in the next few weeks, is my art.
This exhibit will be in the Phoenix Sky Harbor Terminal 4 until June 2019. In the Broadcast Center, Allison Snell, Cronkite News.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
On the next Arizona Horizon is the Journalists Roundtable. A state lawmaker claims immunity after being stopped for speeding. And the governor raises eyebrows with a press conference staged for a campaign commercial.
I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next News Hour, John Coltrane's lost album, newly discovered music from the legendary saxophonist. That's Friday on the PBS News Hour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.